This is a short video presentation and user guide that explains the most frequently used functions of the Receptionist user type in the Unified Medical File electronic medical record system. In the next section, the layout and functions of the landing and home page are explained. After entering proper credentials and clicking Sign In, the system takes the receptionist to the landing and home page screen. The landing screen contains the floating bar, the patient registration button, and the calendar. In the calendar, we can see the scheduled events in blue color and the in-progress ones in green. In the right upper corner of the calendar is the interval setting control. This is used to adjust the visible interval in the calendar. It can be set to days, weeks, or months. The default setup is to show the current day events. In summary, the landing screen of the receptionist acts also as the home page. It displays in the right upper corner of the screen the floating bar. The patient registration button is in the left upper corner. In the center of the screen is the calendar with the events of the selected interval. Each event occupies a slot in a calendar cell of a date and time. The interval can be changed using the selector interval, which is placed in the right upper corner of the calendar. An event in the calendar permits the receptionist to interact with both the event itself and the patient owner of the event. In the next section is everything you need to know about the floating bar. The floating bar is a Unified Medical File feature that is available to all user types. Here is how to make the best use of it. From left to right, first is the left panel icon, which opens the left panel with its menu buttons. Second is the home screen icon, which takes the user to his or her home screen from any current page. Third, and in the middle of the floating bar, the Find Patient search box returns a list of matching patient records upon entering the whole or a part of any identifying string, such as ID, name, first name, mobile number, etc. Fourth is the Language Selector drop box, permitting the user to change the language of the user interface to another one supported by the system. Fifth and last is the Logout button. The floating bar stands for its name. It can be moved as needed around the screen. Just hover over it until you see the grabbing hand, then move it, as needed, to any other convenient location on the screen. In the following section, the patient registration process is explained. The process is launched when the user clicks the Patient Registration button. The Patient Registration button is on the left upper corner of the receptionist landing screen. Clicking this button launches the Patient Registration wizard and opens the patient registration form. In the form, fields marked with a red asterisk are imperative ones. They must be completed in order to fully register a patient. If the national identification of a patient is not entered during the initial registration, the patient can still be soft registered, but without being able to create a transaction in the system. After filling in the registration form, clicking the Save button registers the patient as explained before. If an imperative field was missed when submitting the form, the system will highlight it before proceeding to complete the registration. The left panel is a collection of menu items that are grouped in a sliding left side screen panel. In the following section, accessing the left panel and its functions are explained. The left panel is accessed by clicking the left panel icon on the floating bar. The left panel opens from the left side of the screen to display a collection of menu items. The collection of menu items depends on the user type and user permissions of the logged-in user. Normally, the Unified Medical File system does not display patient lists. The following section explains how to find a patient in Unified Medical File in order to perform any kind of transaction with the patient. In order to find a patient file easily, the Unified Medical File provides a strong patient search function. To find any patient, enter all or part of any identifying information of the patient, such as name, mobile number, or ID, in the floating bar's Find Patient search box. Upon pressing the Enter key, the system returns 3 matching records when searching for the name John. For each returned row, an action menu icon on the far left side of the row is visible. Clicking this action menu icon opens the list of actions available on this patient. Scheduling and creating activities are important receptionist tasks. In the following section, scheduling an activity for a patient is explained. To schedule an activity, the reception staff first needs to find the target patient using the Find Patient search box in the floating bar. As shown on the screen, a patient's name, Perez, has been entered in the Find Patient search box. Clicking Enter will return the matching records. Only one in this case. Clicking the Action menu icon of a selected patient shows a list of possible actions, including the Schedule Activity action. Clicking on this menu item launches the Activity Scheduling wizard. The first screen of the wizard requests selecting, in sequence, the provider, the provider's work group or specialty, and one of a collection of providers' activity templates. Once an activity template is selected, the system moves on to display the selected activity template pre-filled with the future activity values. The receptionist can edit the pre-filled values if needed, then commits the changes by clicking Next. The wizard moves to capture the date and time of the future activity. The selection of date and time on the provider's calendar ensures that no conflicts exist in his or her schedule. Afterwards, the wizard requests to add any other required human or other type of resources for the activity. This ensures no conflict exists or arises later among all used resources. The wizard commits all entered information and schedules the activity in the calendars of all participating resources once the pin-protected Schedule Activity has been clicked. Calendar events are the objects that receptionists access to manage activities and their related patients. In the following section, managing calendar events, the event menu, and the patients menu are explained. Activity events seen on the calendar have a rich menu that permits several actions taken on the activity event itself and on the patient subject of the activity. To view the activity event menu, click on the event itself and the event menu will open. Elements visible on the event menu depend on the event status and on its scheduled time. Starting an activity is one of the functions that can be visible on the activity menu. Events can be started only within 8 hours of the scheduled activity, and the Start Activity button is visible only during this window. To start an activity, click on the Start Activity button. Clicking on the Start Activity button converts the activity to an in-progress one and launches the Start Activity wizard. The Start Activity wizard captures and processes in sequence, showing a QR code to a patient and getting them to use the QR code to provide information about their current visit. Marketing information related to the activity for later use by the management. The base financial transaction created by the system, representing the income from the activity. The Activity Event menu contains an icon next to the patient's name. When clicked, this icon opens the patient's menu. To access the patient menu starting from the Event menu, do the following. On any event visible on the calendar, click the event to show its menu. Click the Patient menu icon to open the Patient menu. Reception staff manages payments from and to patients. In the following section, Managing Payments, Receipts, and Refunds by the Receptionist is all explained. Managing money payments and refunds by the receptionist or any other authorized and privileged staff is completed through the Activity Event menu. To initiate a payment or a refund, the user clicks the event to open its menu. Depending on whether the user has clicked the Receive or Refund money, the system launches the appropriate wizard and opens the appropriate form. To fill a payment receipt or a refund voucher, the user fills the imperative fields of the transaction form, the title, the amount, and then commits the transaction by PIN. Unified Medical File updates all billing and accounting records as needed after committing the transaction to record. A receipt can be printed and handed to the patient.